Alright, we're gonna start messing with heads today. Yesterday I had some brush hogging to do and a bunch of yard work needed to get done, so I figured it was a good day to get that out of the way. Hopefully I don't have to mow the yard too many more times this fall, as dry as we're getting. That being said, I'd like to get some more rain to finish the beans out. There's some beans just south of the state line here, in between State Road 20 and US 2 on the we call it prairie ground. It was native prairie way back when, but the beans on that ground are smoked like bad. I was talking to a friend of mine down there last week. Guess that's not gonna work. They got a bunch of, most of what they farm is all on that ground, and most of it's seed corn, but they're dry land beans this year. After this last dry spell we had, they're figuring if they average between 25 and 30 bushel, they'll be doing good. The beans basically just gave up. There's beans down there right now that look like the end of September. Almost no leaves left on them, tan. There's a bean field right across from the Helena plant where I work now. When I left Friday, it was still, I don't know, 50% green, maybe a little more. Got down there this morning after a 3-day weekend. There's not a green leaf left on it, and I'll bet they're somewhere between 50 and 60% senesced already. Like another week or so and you'll be out, you could probably be out there with a combine, and it is way too early for that. Like my beans here, just starting to get some yellow to them. Hopefully up here on the heavy ground we weren't affected as bad, but we were still affected. I know we took the top end off whatever there was for yield potential. I doubt corn was affected as much, but it was probably still affected. But it definitely hit beans the hardest. That was, and the thing is, we weren't even really dry for that long, but it was just dry enough at the right time to be really bad timing. And the damage was swift and maximum. And I've got some beans that I gotta cut, you know, like you can see right here along the edge where I had that big spray mishap, but somehow the beans came back. Is the chipmunk back? Is the chipmunk back? We'll start it in a minute. I got some lamb's quarters and stuff along the edge here. It's nothing terrible. I got a couple little here and there of ragweed, but I got a few bean fields where in every spot where it's coming in is a spot where the woodchucks or the deer have sent beans out. Every single spot. If you added it all up, it's probably less than 10 acres total across everything, but I got a bunch of spots where the gypsum weed is coming in with a vengeance, and with the exception of possibly Roundup, which may or may not kill it, there's really nothing I could spray on it at this point and catch the harvest or stay outside the harvest interval, because we're probably I don't know, they're starting to turn now. I bet we're 3.5 weeks away from starting to cut beans, weather permitting. Sooner if we don't get any more rain, which the rain situation ain't looking good. So I really can't spray anything and stay outside of the harvest interval, so I guess it's just gonna have to be what it's gonna be. But like I say, it's all in the spots where the woodchucks have been anyhow, so it's not like there's a super abundant amount of beans there. It's more of an annoyance and a not wanting to have to look at it sort of thing, but it is what it is. So should we see if your chipmunk friend is in there? I called today and I got a couple places looking for a door strap for me, so we'll see how they come out. They said they'd get back with me by tomorrow morning. You ready? Nothing must have come out or they'd have been on it. The way they were looking, I wonder if whatever it was ran into the tailings. Let's just see if we can... Oh, there it is! There's a pallet there, it probably went under that. And I'm gonna say here, put you there, that way I don't gotta hold on to you. It is surprising how much easier this thing shifts now. You think the older cable would shift harder. It shifts better. The other thing I should probably try to get done with this thing before the go time too is get the AC charged on it, because I got a feeling we're in for a warm fall. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't think it's going to be overly hot. Like hot, but I don't think we're going to be on the cold edge of things either. Locked down here and put stuff back, and we'll meet you down at the shop. All right, this thing's still kind of scuzzy from last winter, or last fall, winter, whatever the heck that mess turned into. So today I am just going to focus on getting it cleaned up. And I could have swore I left this on the combine for the initial rinse off, but I guess not. But anyway, regardless, I am going to go ahead and just today get this thing power wash cleaned up, and then we'll attack what needs attacked tomorrow, hopefully. It doesn't really need much. Well, we'll get into that tomorrow. We'll see you guys. I'm gonna get it power washed. We'll see you guys tomorrow when I start working on it. All right, we're working on the head today. Probably gonna be a few evenings after work worth of work on it. Probably get it all done in a day if I had a full day, but I got that gathering chain needs jump. One or the other needs to jump to tooth forward or back because that one's slightly out of time. I think actually this end one might be too, but this one's in the center, that one's off one, and that one's. So I got a couple gathering chains. That one and that one need row units of the gathering chains need retimed. I need to make some steel straps to bridge these holes so that I'm pinching these rubbers in between steel because bolts pulled out. I hope the other one's still there. Is the other one still there? Yeah, the other ones, they're both still there, just the bolts pulled through the center holes, so I got to do that. Check greasing the gearboxes. This is the row unit that needs straightened out, which shouldn't be that big of a deal. You'll see that better when I get the head picked up. I gotta go back to look in my parts department back at my house, because I have these two snouts are the only original ones left on the head now. Don't have the skid shoes on them, so I gotta get shoes put on those. No, I lied. That end snout, so it's got two that aren't original and 3 that are. This end snout's an original. That one and that one are not. And I'm hem-hawing about adjusting the deck plates. I've never had too big of an issue with it butt shelling in my stuff, but when I was doing that custom work last fall, it was butt shelling pretty bad. And they're set at 1.25 inches in the front and 1.5 inches in the back right now. I don't know if I take them down to like 1 1/8 and 1 3/8 just to narrow them up a bit. I don't know, I've still got to think on that. And then I was looking at the gathering chains yesterday while I was washing it. There's still plenty of stroke in the slack adjusters, so they're chain tensioners, slack adjusters, whatever you want to call them, the end idler sprockets. So I'm gonna run them for at least one more season. I'm hem-hawing back and forth because John Deere chains are for like the two, I think the ones I was looking at were for my bosses, for Brian's, what's his head, 643. The 600 series head gathering chains are the correct number of links. They got the correct number of lugs. Everything about them's correct except, well, the lugs are shaped different too, obviously, but everything about them's correct except the chain is shorter, like the links are shorter. The pit, if you're picking up what I'm saying, like shorter, like the links are this way shorter, not this way shorter. Chain pitch is the same, whole 9 yards, it's just the links aren't as fat. The end sprockets would bolt on this head. You just have to make a spacer to take up a little bit of the slack, I think, and they might even, the end sprockets, if I bought Deere sprockets from Shoot, might even be in the center where the bearing rides, might even be the same height as these. And then you just have to pop my drive sprockets off and machine off whatever you need to make them fit in the Deere chains. And then I have off the shelf, easy to get John Deere gathering chains that are probably gonna be a good long time before they go extinct. Where these are, you can get them, but they're custom order. Surprisingly not any more expensive though. They were about I think they were about $150 a chain, and I think it's about that same time when I was looking at what we needed to do last year. I think the Deere chains through Shoot were about $150 a chain. So price wise, it's not really any different. It's just future parts availability wise, although if I put a new set of gathering chains on this thing, it's going to be a good long while before I ever wear them out. So there's that too. So anyhow, I'm going to start off, because and the reason I got it sitting on the ground is checking gearboxes, see where the grease is at in them, and then we can pick the head up. And actually, I guess while I got it sitting down too, we can make those straps real quick, because that'll be fast. I might not even put them in the mill, depending on what material I find to make them out of. I might just lay them out and do them in the drill press. I don't know why they always get, well, it sits outside. I know why they get like this, but I never put them in that tight. Okay, hold on. And there's a little bit of air in there, so we will pump some more in. Prime up, you bastard. There we go. I bought this thing, I think it was from Earl King or TSC, like a really dirt cheap off-brand. Don't even remember what it was. It might have been a Traveler or whatever. Pretty sure it came from TSC, but for a cheap grease gun, it primes easy. It doesn't leak. It loads easy. It's for a cheap gun, it's really not terrible. Alright, don't mind this. Looks like an excavator cylinder of some kind, possibly a backhoe cylinder. Anyhow, gearboxes are topped off. They took, I don't know, a little bit less than 3/4 of a tube each, give or take. So I got hole pattern laid out in these guys. I'm just gonna knock them out real quick in the drill press here. They don't need to be precise, and the mill's all nice and clean, so I can still speed this thing up a little bit though. Yeah, that's it right there. What do we got here? Let's go. That's more better. Well, yeah. Line it up with the holes in the rubber, and the holes line up, so we'll find out here in a second. Damn it. Good dealio. And we can forego the flat washers now because we don't need them. I have to look in the parts book and see if this was actually, it would make sense if it did, if this was actually supposed to have a strap like this from the factory and somehow they got lost over the years, because they haven't, there wasn't any on it when I got it. But when I got it, I can't remember if there was even any paddles left on it, or if they were completely gone. All right, we're gonna take a quick diversion here, because before I go messing with them deck plates, I want to get some field data. Deck plates, stripper plates, whatever they call them in your neck of the woods. We always call them, I always heard them called deck plates. These are some decent looking ears for 98-day corn. Okay, so when you're running, the head's probably going to be up here roughly, and that's, you know, right there at the node is not quite an inch, 7/8 maybe. That's a little thicker one right there. About an inch. I don't know. I might close them up a bit. Oh, I was gonna say, really, that's the ear you put on? No, this is the ear it put on. I haven't actually pulled a single ear yet this year. We're dented. Filled out almost all the way to the tip. Butt's formed a little goofy, but let's just count right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28-ish. Plus your butt kernels and your tip kernels, and 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 around. I mean, I only fertilized for 150 bushel of corn to begin with because I was trying to keep input costs down this year, so I'd say we're at least going to get that out of it. And 98-day corn is not going to be a bin buster to begin with just by its nature, but I want to see what moisture and test weight does. So for being planted late and kind of being a drought-ish for the last few weeks, I'm happy with it. Can't complain about that. I've seen a lot of guys that have started shelling already that have been shelling a lot worse looking and smaller ears than this, so take what you can get. Don't really see any sign of much disease anywhere. So anyhow, I think now that we've made the field excursion, I think I might choke those deck plates down just a hair. Well, the dogs are munching on their ear corn, and we're gonna hopefully move these deck plates. Hopefully the bolts don't break off. If one bolt breaks off, we're probably just gonna leave them for now, because that could turn into a very serious project very quickly. I guess we'll find out, but there's 3 bolts that hold them on. There's one here, here, here on all of them. And looking at it, if you look here, this deck plate is further in on the row unit than this one, so at least on this row unit we're going to take all the adjustment, or make all of our adjustment with this deck plate sliding this away. So fingers crossed. Ooh. Well, that was a good sign. And the front one's kind of a booger. They weren't very nice to you on that one. I don't know. You almost need to go through the dang hole for... Oh, we can do that. We can do that right there. Sort of, kind of. You want to know the dumb thing about this? I don't know why the option didn't carry forward. On the 545s, the series before this isn't the 7300. 2 series before this, the series before the 7300, you had the option for hydraulic deck plates plugged into the same outlet that you ran the reel height on. I don't know why they didn't carry that forward to this head. It would have been a pretty slick option, and they probably would have been one of the only ones to offer it at that time. But they didn't, so here we sit. Now the question is, how do you slide that guy over? It didn't move. Well, I might have to go back and reconsult the book, because that's the only 3 bolts that they mentioned loosening up. But it certainly ain't wanting to move. This is the first time I've ever screwed with the deck plates on this thing, so this is a new experience. Well, I figured out why I couldn't get it to move like I wanted it to. These things are nowhere near in line with the snapping rolls up here at the front. If you can see the slot right there, so that bolt is bottomed all the way out in the slot that way, so the stripper, the front is as far forward this way as it can go, and the back is about in the center. So the back's got to sneak over some, because the back is on, basically they're running at an angle like this to the snapping rolls. So I'm gonna have to take and move the back of this plate, the back of this plate over to get my gap, and it's looking like I can't get that piece of cornstalk out of there, but it's looking like I got enough to move the front of this one over to get my so we're gonna end up having to move everything, it looks like, because the plates aren't square to anything. But I was able to get this back to move. Basically what they got here is you got a pinch bolt that goes through. There's a square nut welded to the bottom of the unit frame, and then the slots are in the plates. So it's really not too complicated of a system. I know you can use sockets for this, but I'm just gonna do the old tape measure. So if I want to do 1 1/8 in the front, that means I need 1 1/4 inches at the rear. Because you generally want them 1/8 inch. 1/8 to 1/4 is what I've always heard. Difference front to back. So that right there gets me 1/4 inch. That's 1 1/4 inches. That's 1 1/4 inches. So now we're straight. Where's my ratchet? Right there. So we can go ahead and tighten this guy back up. There are certain things about modern corn heads that, well, almost everything about modern corn heads is a lot better, but being able to adjust your deck plates on the fly from the cab is definitely a very large improvement over having to get out and use tools. And have an automatic. See, now they're the same distance, but and having an automatic yeah, you're cool. Having automatic stripper deck plate adjustment also means that you never lose your taper that they're supposed to be at, and they always stay centered on the row unit. We're doing it this way. Things can get wonky, as we have seen here. Okay, so fingers crossed we get some movement out of it in the front. And we have, the front only needed to go 1/8. Max had it set up that there was 1/4 inch, or was it more than that? It was 1 1/4 inches to front. Yeah, he had it set up to for 1/4 inch difference front to back, and I want them running a little tighter than that. getting there. Actually, it might be bottomed out now. That might be all we're getting out of it. Yeah, it's pretty darn close. Yeah, looking at what I can see of the slot, I bet I bottomed them out. That might be as close as they can get in the front. You'd think they'd have given you a little bit more adjustment than that, but that being said, these deck plates are also worn too. What probably needs to happen is I probably just need to take them all the way off at some point and weld new. It looks like it's started out life as maybe 1/4 inch round stock or something. I'm assuming it was probably hardened, but it's just bent around the radius and welded on there. Wouldn't be hard to remake them, and they need to have rebuilt deck plates. So, just make sure we're still kosher back here. And the back moved, so that needs to be given a love tap. I guess I'll get the back set back where that is basically where I want it. And we'll snug this guy down a little. Yeah, that's solid. That hole has bottomed out. But we're at 1 1/8 now, and we are at 1 1/4 back here. So now we're tapered. We're should be more parallel with the snapping rolls. So all right, 1 down, 3 to go. All right, well, I got 2 done. I had to open my mouth. Got to the second one, had to move both plates again. That bolt right there decided to break off. But luckily it was one that you could actually get to, and I was able to drill it out, or drill the bolt out and run a tap through it and get the threads out and clean everything up and bolt threaded in, and it tightened up, so I guess we're good. But it's almost 8:30 now. I'm running out of daylight at an accelerated pace, so I'm gonna call it a night here, and I'll do those other 2 tomorrow. And tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow too, we can get this. Oh, I didn't show you this. This is the row unit. Did I show you this? I can't remember. This is the row unit that needs straightened out. You look at it, you see that deck plate is higher than that deck plate. So like I say, the guy I bought this combine from said that he had that happen a couple times when he bent some snouts, and all he did, or he and a buddy did, was chain a piece of, I can't remember what he said, big piece of steel to the bottom of it to give him a lever, and he just pushed on it with his loader until it was straightened out. It's probably only needs to move a 1/4 inch, but honestly, if you got the snout off, you could probably, you probably ought to not. I say you could probably just take the loader bucket and push on it right here, but probably need to come up with something a little better than that. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to the, actually, I wonder, Nah, it's one piece all the way across. I was gonna say, I wonder if all I have to do is take that bracket loose, but actually, no, it ain't neither. I don't see a paint mark where it looks like the paint slipped, but that might be something I try first, is just take that bolt loose and see if all it did was slip that bolt in the hole. Because you translate a little bit of movement out here over that distance and it's going to turn into a big movement. Because I don't see any stressed welds. I mean, nothing, there's no signs that this is actually bent. And this half is just bridged right here. And that's all bolted together, so yeah, I wonder what the odds are I can crack that loose and we just slip it and put it back in line. That would be ideal. But we'll figure that out tomorrow, so we'll catch you guys tomorrow. Okay, I finished up my deck plates. My didn't break off a single bolt in the rest of them. The only one I fought was that one that we had to fix. Go figure. I got my door strap on. That ended up coming from Spallinger. They were the only ones that had any, and the only ones close that had any whites left in the yard. They had an 80, or if they said an 80, I think it was an 8900 and a 9700, or an 8800 maybe. I don't know. They had two of them. And they had a door strap, so I got one. Now the door doesn't open quite all the way, but it takes all the pressure off that hinge, and now the door will lock open, so if you need it open, the wind's not sitting there batting on it. And if for some reason you do need the door open all the way, like you're going to be working in the cab, you undo one bolt, strap comes undone, you can open the door all the way. So anyhow, with my deck plates done, we're going to go ahead and I want to see if I take this bolt loose, or this bolt and this bolt loose, and see if we can straighten this row unit out without any major carnage. Probably being too wishful to think that get this bolt loose and it just snaps back into position on its own. Son of a Buick. Well, good golly, Miss Molly. Guess I get a breaker bar because I don't want to be yanking on that ratchet. I don't get it. It's just a... There we go, finally. Even with a 1/2-inch breaker bar, I was getting really nervous because I had a cheater pipe on it too. But I'm up to a... Okay, we'll buck this somewhere where it can get loose. I'm up to a 3/4 breaker bar with a cheater pipe. Son of a... That just seems excessively tight for no apparent reason. I don't think it went back. It is better than it was though. So now I just need to figure out, fortunately probably have to take the snout and the side shield off, but just have to figure out a way to push down on it and get just a wee bit more to get everything back in line. worked out pretty good. The snapping rolls are in line. The deck plates must be a little tweaked, because if you look, deck plates aren't quite, but it looks like this one's bent up a little bit, and it looks like this one's bent down a little bit, but the snapping rolls are in line, so that's what matters. The gathering chains are in line, so should be good. So with that being said, I got my 2 gathering chains that were out of time are back in time. So the last thing I got to do is the thing I've been dreading the most, is putting feet on these 2 snouts that are missing them. This one's already got a busted off bolt, and one that is probably going to bust off the minute you, well, you ain't going to get nothing on it anyhow, so. But that's the next step. Alright, so I got the tip out of the snout because we got to get these busted bolts out. Somehow, surprisingly, obviously this is a Phillips head screw, bolt, whatever you want to call it. It's a bolt. Obviously we're going to get that out with a screwdriver, so I welded a 5/16 nut to it to where I could still get a socket on it, and that spun right out without breaking, which really impressed me. But now we're going to pull the old weld nuts on here and see if they'll come out of their own accord trick. I don't have high hopes, but you never know. The nice thing about this is the heat from the weld will, I guess I can put you over here so you're not, the heat from the weld will actually heat the bolt, so we might get lucky. That would figure. You're gonna have to be difficult, aren't you? Alright, all the holes are cleaned out, so we can go back together. And it's all going back together with anti-seize. Poor old snouts are getting pretty darn thin. And then the whole reason we went down this here road towel didn't line up for shit. Alright, there's one done. I don't know if I get the other one done yet tonight or not. We'll try. Alright, I'm not going to get done tonight. This shoe had it was wore pretty bad right there at that angle, so I just piled a bunch of weld on there to give it some more material, and it's going to be a hot minute before you can touch that thing, so. And I'm about out of daylight anyhow. I'm just going to clean up my mess, and I'll throw that thing on tomorrow, and we'll wrap this thing up. Okay, I worked ahead on you because I didn't figure anybody needed to see me do a second skid shoe. So this guy's on. It was just as much, if not more of a fight than that one. Actually, it was probably less. Yeah, it was still a fight. So that's done. And you can tell how much ground this head's run over, because these snouts, I don't have the head these came off of. These were wide row snouts that I bought. That the guy had as spares for his narrow head. So I don't know the story on these, but look at this, how thick this point is compared to these. That's how many acres this has been over, because these snouts, as far as I know, are original. So she's seen a few acres, but all things considered, it's still in pretty decent shape, I'd say. But anyhow, as far as I'm concerned, it's ready to go. It just needs greased and the chains oiled, but I'm gonna wait to do that until it's actually go time, because I found that there really ain't no sense in oiling everything up on it to turn around and let it sit for 4 more weeks until we start shelling corn. Which at the rate it's going, this field here and the other 98-day hybrid 21, both 2177, that's this little 2-acre patch there down the road here, those are gonna go fairly early, I'm guessing. But I did throw the drive shafts on. We'll spin her over. Just to make sure everything's gonna be agreeable. I wish there was like they put like a test button in that or something, so that when you just want to run the machine, you can click that button and turn those things off. It would be nice, but there's not one there, so. Come here. I don't mind them. I mean, they're not gonna get hurt being under it. What my fear is they're gonna see something and jump for it. and then we got a problem. Boys and girls, I'm ready to go shell some corn. It's time. It's even corn shelling weather. The temperature's been dropping like a rock since about 3 o'clock today. And honestly, I kind of wish I had a sweatshirt on right now. It's only about 60 degrees. It's 60 degrees, it's windy, you got some nice clouds. It's like this here. This is corn shelling weather. Gives you the itch. And then you remember that corn's only $3. What did I sell some for today? I sold 1,000 bushels a day for $3.50 because I'm scared it's gonna tank more. So right now I got about 3,700 bushels sold, and I sold 500 bushel of beans today for $9.60. I was hoping for at least 10, but I don't think we're gonna hit 10 anytime soon, so I figured might as well sell some. 960 is better than I don't know. If it goes up before harvest, great. I didn't really lose any money. I just secured some money. But if it does tank, then I sold 500 bushel for something. But and then I got 2,500 bushel of corn sold at I can't remember what that average pricing program, mid-4s. I wish I'd have sold more than 2,500 bushel in that program, but shoulda, coulda, woulda. Who would have thought that we'd see corn under $4? But that being said, Brian, my old boss, and I need to start doing it too. Every time he poured new concrete, he would write down his name, or he would sign the slab. His wife would sign the slab. All the kids would, and then he would put the date and the corn and soybean spot prices on the day they finished the concrete. And on his, I can't remember if it was on his big bin or on his chemical shed. One of those two, and I can't remember the year. It wasn't all that long ago. It was 20 teens. Corn was like $3.18 a bushel, $3.17, $3.18, something like that. And I can't remember what beans were, but it's like, huh, we think this is bad, but that's better than that. So I got to go up there this weekend and talk to him. I'll have to go look and see, because I remember it was low prices, and it was not, in the grand scheme of things, all that long ago. So in all reality, this is probably not the cheapest corn and beans I've ever sold. It's just the cheapest corn and beans I've sold that I can remember. That I can remember. There's probably some cheaper stuff in there somewhere, but anyhow, this video's gotten long enough. It got way longer than what I thought it was going to. This head got a little bit more involved than what I was initially planning on, but should be good to go now. So with that being said, that's it for this one. We'll catch you guys on the next one.